Morning, and once again welcome to my YouTube channel, Maths with Ease by Mr. Kamotho. And in this video I want us to try our skills of rationalizing the denominator. And we have understood that it is important that we write a denominator of a surd of an irrational number as a rational number. This one is irrational, it is a surd. Root 3 is a surd, and we need now to rationalize the denominator. And we have understood that to rationalize the denominator, it is important that we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. And the conjugate is a number that is aimed at rationalizing the denominator. And in most cases, we said if we just have one term at the denominator, the conjugate happens to be the same number, which is root 3. And in this case, we would wish now to multiply the numerator by root 3 and the denominator by the same root 3. You realize that when we apply the multiplication of root 3 and root 3 at the denominator, is just like by root 3 1 by root 3 1. It's just like multiplying the original term by 1. So we change nothing. And for this matter, we are now expected to have 1 times root 3 is by itself root 3, and root 3 times root 3 is 3. This is 3. How does it become 3? Remember, root 3 is 3 raised to power a half. So 3 raised to power half times 3 raised to power half is going to be 3 raised to power 1, which is simply 3, and that's how we have here. That is it. When we come now to this term, the conjugate of this term happens to be different, because now we have the conjugate to be the same number but with a different sign. So multiply the numerator by 3 minus root 2 and 3 minus root 2. Again, if you cancel the numerator and the denominator, we are left with 1. It's like just multiplying the original number by 1. And that ensures that we are not changing anything. So 1 times 3 root 2 is simply 3 minus root 2 all over 3 plus root 2 times 3 minus root 2. Using the FOIL, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times root 2 is minus 3 root 2. Root 2 times 3 is plus 3 root 2. And root 2 times root 2 is actually negative 2. Negative 2. So finally we have 3 minus root 2 all over minus 3 root 2 plus 3 root 2 will cancel out, and 7 minus 2, or not 9 minus 2 is 7. And that is a rationalized denominator. Let's now get back to part C. And part C, you look at the denominator is 5 minus root 3. So the conjugate, or the number we are going to multiply by, is the same 5, but now this time plus, or rather root 5 plus root 2. And we do the same at the numerator, root 5 plus root 2. This gives us now root 5 times root 5 is 5. Root 5 times root 2 is plus root 10. Root 2 times root 5 is plus root 10. And root 2 times root 2 is plus 2. Everything over. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. And now, because we already know this, the two middle terms will cancel out, I may just have to multiply the first one and the last one. How will the two middle terms cancel out? because that is the intention when we bring the different sign here. Root 5 times root 2 is positive root 10. Positive root 10. Now the different signs ensures that the second one is minus root 10, and let us see. So you see minus root 2 times root 5 is basically negative root 10, and these will cancel out. So we know, even before we go anywhere, we know that. So minus root 2 times root 2 is negative 2. So finally we have 5 plus 2, which is 7, root 10 plus root 10, which is plus 2 root 10, all over root 10 plus root 10 is 2 root 10, 5 minus 2 is a 3. And that is a rationalized denominator. Let us go to part D. In part D, we have some work to do, because already we are having a denominator that is squared. We are having a denominator that is squared, and we have to ensure that we are going to have 1 over 1 minus root 3, 1 minus root 3, and we need now to expand the denominator. We have 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times minus root 3 is minus root 3, root 3 times 1, minus root 3 times 1 is minus another root 3. This first one is as a result of 1 times minus root 3, and the second one is minus root 3 times 1, and minus root 3 times minus root 3 is obviously plus 3. That is the denominator. Simplifying the denominator, we have 1 over 1 plus 3 is 4, minus root 3 minus root 3 is minus 2 root 3. And that is now the term that we have. This one is the same as this. You will see that the denominator is already an irrational number. So we need to come back and rationalize the denominator. So we have 1 over 4 minus 2 root 3. The conjugate now happens to be the denominator, which has a difference, the opposite sign, 2 root 3, and 4 plus 2 root 3. This is just by multiplying the original term by 1. But let us just expand it. This one is going to be, this 1 times 1 is itself 4 plus 2 root 3. And the denominator, of course, now we have to apply the FOIL. 4 times 4, 16. 4 times 2 root 3 is 8 root 3. Minus 2 root 3 times 4 minus 8 root 3. By now we know these two terms should cancel out. Minus root 3 minus 2 root 3 times 2 root 3. It is 4 times 3, which is minus 12. 2 times 2 is 4. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. So 4 times 3 is it is actually 12. So eventually we now have 4 plus 2 root 3 all over that, and that will cancel out. 16 minus 12 is 4. And we can go further and simplify this, because we can see 2 is common. So outside there we have 2 plus root 3 inside the bracket. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 root 3 divided by 2 is simply root 3 over 4. And by 2, 1, by 2, 2. So the final answer is actually going to be 2 plus root 3 all over 2. And that is where we are. 2 plus root 3 all over 2. That is how we rationalize that denominator. Thank you, and let us meet in the next video.